Hello, friends, and welcome to the second ever episode of the ARTSY Hustle podcast. My name is Adam Kubota, and I welcome those of you who have not listened to this podcast before, and welcome back the people that listened to our first episode, which was a home run in my book. It was an interview with Congresswoman Shelley Pingree from Maine, who is the co-chair of the Congressional Arts Caucus. And if you are listening to this and you listen to the first one, you realize that it's been a fairly decent interval between the first and the second. And part of that is just me figuring out the ins and outs of recording these podcasts during a pandemic and getting them edited and getting video clips made for social media. But I have an even cooler excuse than that in addition, and that is that I found out that I passed the California bar exam, which is one of the hardest bar exams in the whole country. And so that has been some really, really big news for me. I'm really excited. The timing couldn't be better. And if you know me, if you've known me over the years, you know that I graduated law school in 2014. And immediately after that, I went to touring with Postmodern Jukebox. And it kind of took me a while to circle back and complete my legal Jedi training. So I am just happy to announce this fact. So for today's podcast, it's going to be different than the first one for sure, because I interviewed these two fantastic people, a married couple down in the Mojave Desert in Southern California, Jeremi and Jacqueline Levi, who they are inviting people into their home, their property, I should say, in the desert, and because they are putting on live concerts there, actual live concerts for people to drive their cars into. So it's not a seated concert. The attendees are just sitting in their car, which is the safe way to do it. And you're going to listen to the podcast and you can figure out the ins and outs of how they do that. But I guess the main takeaway that I got from it is that it's quite feasible to put on a concert. You basically just need a power source, if that, and you just need a big parking lot and people that are very well organized, as Jeremi and Jacqueline are. And I think this is going to save the sanity of people like myself who thrive on performing live, and also for those people that just love to go out to concerts and that is part of their DNA. So without any further ado, let's get started with the interview that I did with Jeremi and Jacqueline Levi. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Artsy Hustle podcast. And today I'm pretty excited to talk to some people that are doing drive-in concerts in their community. And so we have Jeremi and Jacqueline, and they have a concert series at their ranch in Yucca Valley. Is that correct? And it's called Mon Petit Mojave, which hopefully my French pronunciation from high school is still doing that justice. So welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, we're excited to be here.
Yeah. So we were just talking a little bit before I started recording, and it's really inspirational and exciting to see that there are people out there that love music so much that they want to find a way in this pandemic to produce musical concerts and events in their space. And I think that I just want to get the information from you guys about it all, so people can sort of take that information and figure out ways that they can reproduce that in their community. So musicians like myself, I'm a bass player. You know, we have a place to actually, play a little bit. I think that'll save our sanity quite a bit. So let's see. I want to start with who are you guys, and where is this concert venue located?
So my wife and I, my wife is in digital marketing, but also in philanthropy and involved in a lot of stuff. I'm myself a musician. And we've been living in Yucca Valley, down in the low desert and now in the high desert for 5 years now.
Yes, 5 years.
You've been...
I was born and raised in Southern California. I met Jeremi in Paris. And then we bought 15 acres of land up in Yucca Valley about 3 years ago. And this is the first time that we're using this space. So we're really excited that we're using it finally for something as cool as this.
Okay, cool. That's good. Go ahead.
So we bought this land with two ideas. One was personal projects. We want to build a house and stay here for a couple of years, if not more. And the second thing was to have this big space for community in a way, and could be events, could be a lot of stuff. But now was the perfect time to start something in here, since we needed to do something. We wanted to do something. We felt like it was necessary to do something. So the conjugation of both stuff appeared clear. That's my wife idea to start the driving concert, even if I am the one who does concerts since 30 years and more. She's the one who decided. I decided she's maybe more creative than me. And so basically, yeah, it took me like 1 hour of, that's strange. And I think I got a lot of friends now who are starting that in Europe, feel the same thing. That's strange. People are going to be in their car. They're going to honk or do lights to applaud. And I had this feeling for 1 hour, and it seems like we need to try that. It looked like a hugely good idea.
Yeah. I've heard, I mean, I posted something about it on my personal Facebook today, and people have been talking about it. And I guess someone told me that they're doing some techno sets like in Germany, and like you were saying, people when they get into it, they're like honking and flashing their lights.
What is true is what you're mentioning now in Germany and in Netherlands, we are talking about really huge parking. Like out parking, like if you look around, it's not going to be natural, and the same feeling good that nature can provide sometimes. And they keep their engine on. We are here in the desert, and people stop their engine. We did adapt for the timing to get later in the night, so they don't have to run the AC, and so they only have the radio. The radio can stay 1 hour or 2 hours without draining the battery.
So I just want to know, how long have you been doing this? How many concerts have you actually had, and what was the experience like?
Is it 6? Because 1 week we did not. It's not 2 months already, but it's getting close. And so I think we had 6.
Yeah, we've had 6. Getting started. So I had the idea. I don't know, let's say on a Tuesday, and we said we're going to do it this weekend. So we set it up. I mean, there wasn't a lot to set up in terms of a stage or anything. We don't do that. But the way our land is and the way we park people, they have a pretty nice view. And plus, like, we're out in nature. You got the view of the Joshua trees. You got the mountains. You got the sunset. It's really beautiful. And then plus you have the show, right? It's been a learning curve, like getting all the technicalities set up. We don't have like a sound engineer. And we do the streaming through the radio, and then we also have the speakers. And then one weekend we didn't do it because we just weren't sure if it was following the stay-at-home orders, and it was a really like weird space that we didn't want to break any laws, but we had built momentum already.
Mm-hmm.
So it was hard, but we paused it for that weekend.
Yeah, we skipped one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually most apparent to me. I think in talking about this is that, I mean, in terms of like, are you compliant? Have you gotten some sort of guidance about whether or not you are complying with the law in terms of putting this on? Or I hate to put you.
I think it's specific to this county, San Bernardino, where what I've been reading is that some church did attack the county for their freedom to do those driving events, and it's been really on and off. Like the county have been saying yes, no, and at some point they said, okay, yes, if you respect some
social
safety,
distancing rules, yeah, you can have it.
And so that's what I was saying before offline, maybe, I don't remember, but we took those rules and we did expand them also with since I come from Europe, we have sometimes some information about contamination or stuff that arrive a little early because we had a big curve, and we had to deal with some stuff. So it's also the best way to know, sometimes to experience. So I did follow also what was scientists were saying in Europe, even if it was over safe for some people here.
Yeah. So that's what you were saying before we talked, is that the guidelines that you have put in place are more strict than what the community offers, and you were saying like, well, you're required that people wear masks. I mean, I guess just set up like what's the scenario, like, what can people expect?
So when people RSVP, they have to fill out a form on our website, and we have a set of rules, and they have to check the box to indicate that they've read each rule. And the rules are, you have to stay in or on your car, because it's a big, wide open space. So if somebody wants to sit on the sunroof of their car or open the trunk and sit in the back, we're perfectly okay with that. But if you do that, you have to wear a mask. If you stay inside your car with the windows rolled up and you're listening through the radio, you don't have to wear a mask. That's perfectly fine. And we also, we keep the cars, I think, 10 feet apart.
6.
There's 10 feet between, and the minimum is 6. And then we don't have bathrooms, so that's, and we make that clear. Like, we say, hey, you know what? This is like, we're just throwing this out there. We maybe in the future we'll build bathrooms, but right now we don't have bathrooms, so please. And
for safety reasons too, bathroom is where, people would get in contact.
Yeah, there would just be a lot of
bathroom. We don't want to get involved with that for now.
Yeah. And the shows aren't longer than an hour, or they're about an hour 15 minutes.
To keep it, and it's for local. That's also something we're really seeing. We need to take action in the world we want for tomorrow, and this project really take in consideration that it's not only big companies that have to make effort, but us. If we do every little project, we need to do the effort we think are good to do. So we try to keep that local for safety reasons for this virus, but also I think we want to have really the community involved here. There is more and more musicians, people love the idea there. And put the people together sometimes when they don't understand themselves really good, when some are more urban and some are more local from here. And all those challenge, to make like this place part of the tomorrow we want.
That is awesome. Yeah, listening to that you're trying to support the community of musicians out there, and I know that there are a ton
out of the community.
So many musicians out there, and keep like a general feeling of community in your area for the people that live there. That so many people are losing touch with that social cohesion because we can't be in a room together. But this is a really cool way. The more I hear about it, the more I'm in love with the idea of doing it. So I think that's very cool, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful area. So
think to something, and here we have a lot of musicians, but most of them work down in Palm Springs area, and where there is the money at some point.
Palm Springs, LA, yeah.
And when we jam here in the mountains, where it's wonderful, we do it confidential. It's kind of confidential. It's and there is no place to play except maybe Papi and Harriet, where we play open.
Yeah. Well, I was curious to know, like, what's the range of musical styles that you've had at your concert series? Has it been a wide range, or is it? You showed me that one picture and it looked pretty acoustic, but is there a capacity to have a DJ or to have like a rock band or something like that?
So far, it's been all done around what I'm doing in this period, which is not necessarily the music I'm doing overall. Overall, I come from classical and jazz, gypsy jazz mainly in Europe. That's what I'm known for there. And
sorry, what do you play? By the way, we didn't even get to this part.
I do play violin, and in the show I'm doing now, because now I have this radio for my neighbor too. It's also a free radio. Since I got the equipment for Orland to make the radio, I have that for a radius around us, and I do every day 1 hour of music. So I do loop stuff. I got some synths, but violin, guitar, trumpet. I play keyboard, keyboard, pads. So it can go from pretty acoustic to kind of electronic with effects, filters and stuff, you know.
Great. So I guess that's interesting to talk about is the equipment to transmit it over an FM signal, right? What is that piece of equipment? I mean, I think for people that want to come to these things, if it's possible, some people are just going to want to stay in their car.
You probably know two kind of those transmitter. One is the one used by the radio. We are talking hundreds or thousand watts or tens of thousands of watts. That's the big antennas, and that's a huge system. And after you got the one you plug in your car, which is a little FM transmitter you connect in Bluetooth, and you actually transmit on the FM band. Those one are like just for your car. It's like for an area which is a couple meter. And in between that, you got the maximum low, I think, is 2 watts. And you got plenty of different watts for like your gym club at the gym. Maybe you can just put radio instead of speaker running with cables. And so they use that too. They use that in a lot of department, and the movie theater use that now.
So that's relatively easy to purchase online and set up and troubleshoot, and you don't need an FCC broadcast license.
If you under 2 watts,
If you go over 2 watts, you need a license, and that I don't really know how it works, but I had to talk with someone who had a radio here, and I think it's pretty strictly enforced if you pass over 2 watts. But
okay.
I mean, 2 watts is already half a mile. You know, you can have a big parking. And I'm talking like it can vary depending on the condition. If it's a really open space, sometimes it can even go over. Basically it's plenty enough for us.
It's a simple setup.
Yeah. No, this sounds like this is good to know for people to replicate. I mean, you just need a PA system in this transmitter.
If you don't know that much radio, but I think you may know as a musician that way. Usually they got 2 regie. I don't know how you say that. Two space when they do the sound live and the sound for the radio. They have 2 sound engineers with 2 different mixer doing 2 different mix. For some reason, is that the number of hertz that the radio frequencies transmits that vary in Europe and here really change the EQ. Like, you know, if you work with sound in 44 kilohertz or 48 kilohertz, maybe it's a little technical for people who can hear that.
Yeah.
But you know how it modifies the sound. It makes alteration to the sound, and the bass becomes.
Right. Okay. So you'd recommend, I guess, just moving into like another space, like for people to replicate this, right? I mean, like ideally speaking, like you would have a sound engineer, like you're saying, to do the live sound and also to do the transmitted sound.
Yeah, consider having different EQs for your speakers or whatever, and for the radio, and that's also true for Facebook.
Yeah, you can stream it too.
Facebook is another problem with a pack of datas. It doesn't recombine the good way. And that alterates, modifies the sound.
Okay. So moving forward, like what would you like to incorporate, and what would you recommend to other people that they should, if they want to get this going in a safe way that sounds good, that's viable? Like, you know, what kind of things are you looking at that other people might want to?
So it's kind of complicated actually to park people. What we ended up doing, so we have an open just land. It's vacant land. And what we ended up doing is we got some field paint and painted off the parking spaces 10 feet apart. And then people come in, I check them in with a clipboard. So I have a spreadsheet of everybody that registers, their name, email, car make, model, and how many people are in the car. And that's how I keep track of everything. As they pull up, I direct them to the parking spot. But that, as we get more reservations, it gets more complicated. So you really have to keep yourself organized in terms of having a safe, clearly defined entryway and then a clearly defined exit, right? So that at the end of the show, everybody can, safely exit. So far, we've had such great people in attendance, all super chill, super respectful of the rules. Nobody's done anything.
Yeah. Sorry,
Like,
that was actually something that I wanted to talk about that I missed. Is at the maximum, how many people do you guys have in?
So for now, we keep a limit to 20 cars to make 2 rows. And because when we're going to have a stage, because we want to build a stage after, but we're going to be able to make a 3rd and 4th rows that's going to be a little further. So we keep an alley. So everybody can always not escape, but you know what I mean.
they can leave. Yeah.
Like you would do in a theater, everybody have 2 ways to get out if they want, if there is any emergency. They don't have to disturb someone else to move, especially in this period. So that's why we keep it to 2 rows.
Yeah. I think for this weekend, we have 30 cars registered.
So we have 30 cars registered.
Which is a lot.
After we can also have, when we have too much cars, there is in the back. And it's a land with pretty much like little, how we call that?
Little hills. So
little
you can
hills.
park some
So
people.
if you park up,
you can see better.
You can always see really good.
So I think the stage for us is definitely the next thing on the list. And we've also, and then eventually like some kind of restroom system. And then in the long run, we're also partnering, or we've talked to a company that's a mobile licensed bar. And that could be something that we would incorporate where they come, they set up, they take care of everything. They have all the licenses.
You do through your phone.
You order through your phone, and then they would take the drinks to you.
So people don't exchange in between. They
so
just
they
have
don't
someone coming
congregate
to the
at a
window.
bar.
Everything is paid. Just one exchange of a glass with gloves and go back to his truck.
And that way, it's somebody that I when I was doing this podcast, somebody was definitely asking me about like the intoxication issue and people behind the wheel. So I think that would provide a way for the person who's serving the drinks to monitor people. I think that'd be really important.
How many drinks people have had. I mean, right now, people can bring their own drink. We're not monitoring what they're bringing in their car.
They are in their car, yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? But when you think about it, it's like, is it people drive to the bar, right? Or, we're not,
so
it's not that different.
We're going to respect, it's always the same. We're going to respect the same policy or even more than, first the bar is going to be responsible.
That's
we
why
don't
you need a
want
licensed bartender.
We don't want to become a bar place. So they're going to be responsible for the legal part, but we're going to ask for them to respect at least the minimum that the law require, or even a little more. And for that, I think it's 30 minutes before people are going to drive.
Closing your 30 minutes before the show ends, at least, and that's it.
Okay.
So I think that will.
Whatever applies to them, we're going to ask them to respect.
Yeah.
I have a law degree, so I'm always thinking about liability. So when you guys start talking about this, I'm like, oh man, like they need to start up a company so they have like protection from their assets, and they need to make people sign a contract in case they do something stupid or they trip and fall. So I'm like already.
We need to talk because we are like, there's this is our private property right now. I think you could think of it as like a private party that we're having, and we're inviting people. We don't charge, right? So there's the legalities of that. If this continues to grow, then we do have to shift to something like, okay, should we set up an LLC or like a business model to protect ourselves? But we're just kind of right now, it's still small enough that we're still testing things out.
But it's not because it's a private party that we don't respect what we have to respect. I have a French degree, and in France, we always see the risk before the benefits. That's something
it's called thinking like a lawyer. That sounds like the education you have there.
Sometimes people think we are not that positive because we are always seeing the risk. What we could lose. When Americans are more like, well, we can do that and we're going to win that and that. We can have that. Let's go. And we are more, take care.
Yeah. So that leads me just to the economic component of this. I mean, so right now you guys are doing it on a donation basis from
So
the people that attend.
People ask
tipping.
us.
We call it tipping.
Yeah. People ask us if they could tip, because initially it was totally free and no exchange, even cash, because we would not exchange physically. So, and people ask for tips, so we did set up a PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App.
Yeah.
So people can support, and some did it really like nicely, generously, unexpectedly. Like she said.
That's great.
It had. We've been grateful for that. Does it equivocate to what a musician would earn in a regular show, even one at a small bar? No, but it's still something, right? And anything helps right now. I think we're also thinking, okay, if this continues to grow, should we start charging people, like per car, or how would that work? And so those are, we don't know yet, but I think eventually we might have to start doing that in order to.
It's more for the musician.
Yeah, invite more musicians and then be able to pay them something.
Musician came for free, but most of the musicians that I had, I gave them $100 because I thought it was not possible to do less than the minimum, And
Yeah.
we are not talking a normal gig. We are talking like I go to the bar for my pleasure.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, I mean, it's just, I think for myself especially, I mean, I've played all over the world, so many places, and I would do any gig right now that was available to me. If the local bar had a $100 gig where I had to play cover songs all day, like that to me sounds like a dream, for just from like a sanity perspective of being out and having some community and having some social interaction and being able to do what I love. So I feel like, like what you guys are doing, at least until there's a better way to safely put people in concert rooms again, like this is probably the best that we can do for like a live music experience. So I think that's very, very cool. And I just want to say, like, thanks for the idea.
I don't know you, but when I got 50 days in a row, I'm exhausted and I'm yelling how bad our job is. But when I have 5 days after without concerts, I become depressive and crazy. We need to play anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only so many like side by side, recordings I can do with my friends, where we, I just did my first one finally like yesterday, because I've been working on the podcast, and it's like, it is cool, but I think people are just tired of just that, so one person tracks something and then somebody else records their track. It just doesn't have the same energy and interactivity of a live performance. And, doing a concert outdoors is I mean, it has its challenges, but I mean, man, if I could play out in the Mojave Desert right now, for a bunch of cars, that's amazing.
We were saying about bad experience of people who didn't experience that and have just seen those pictures of big parking lots. But for us, what we have been experiencing is really cool. Like for the first minute or maybe the first 10 minutes, it's strange to be in front of windshield. It's strange for everybody at the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, but after 10 minutes people find their way to communicate by honking at the end of the solo or at the end of the song, eventually the lights, and some they are in their trance, they can still yell and whatever, and it's different. You have to get used to this new sensation to get comfortable, but it's a chill moment. People are in their car. They are having good time. It's not noisy because people, even if they want to have a little talk, they close their window and they don't disturb anybody else listening. So you can still connect with everybody without, even if one or two decide to get in their bubble. Mm-hmm. And there is cons, but there is a lot of pros. And maybe it's a period, but I think it's a good thing that will stay.
Well, yeah, when I officially, when I initially got in touch with you guys, I was under the misimpression that you guys were operating a drive-in theater that was going to be having concerts. But the way you talk about it actually gives me more hope, because like you just need a big parking lot, like a stadium type parking lot, and you need staff, and you need audio engineers, and you need like a great band to play. And I think that's all that's feasible. And I think a lot of musicians were looking around to drive-in theaters to provide that, but it's a mistake. You just need a big space and people like yourselves who know how to manage it.
Yeah, you have to manage it right. You have to. We do care about people's experience. We do want them. It's not just the music, like I said, and what Jeremie was trying to say right now is like you see these concerts being done in Europe right now, but they're like in these huge like gravel parking lots with these huge stages, and it's very industrial. Here, you come here and you're literally in nature, and that's also very healing for people. To get out of the house in a safe way, to be in nature, and then on top of that, you have this great concert. So you just really need the space, and you need to keep yourself organized and really put in the work to the quality of the sound and the performance, and I think that makes the difference.
Well, there's I mean, I'm a touring musician myself, and I know a ton of audio professionals, tour managers, lighting people, merchandise people out there that are all looking for something to do, and to forge some new connections. And I think that this is like something that we could all kind of put our heads together and figure out. That I think it's gonna, at least I care so much about people in this industry that I think it would be a very positive thing for them.
Yeah, people can come together. We're doing what we can, just the two of us. But if we had all of that help, it'd be amazing. But then there's the other side of it, like the monetization. Like, obviously, how do we pay those people? We're also thinking, like, what if we get a sponsor?
Yeah.
Have somebody sponsor the shows, and then we are able to hire like the audio engineer or the bar or whatever it is.
Even pay the musician someday.
Play the musician.
I know. Imagine
they need to be paid.
Wait a minute. I just played for exposure. Do you get paid? Do you get paid to play?
A sandwich, a beer.
Yeah, give them.
Wait. This is the joke. Like, how many drink tickets can I get to play at your place?
So far, that's why only friends came to play.
Yeah,
I hear you. But hopefully, it sounds like it's something that you can scale up and put together for the time being until it's safer to have concerts. But just to wrap things up, I want to ask you guys. Is there a place online that people can find out more about what you're doing, just so they can at least look at it to see if it's like something that's repeatable and just get a sense for what it's like?
Yeah, on our website, or Jeremie's website. If you go to Jeremi Levi, spelled like Levi, Samson, .com/drive/in/concert. I'm sure you can write it.
It's like the little.
That's an epic URL. We'll have to put that in the
show notes. Yeah, they can go in there and see like how I've set up the registration page, outlined all the rules. Have people, you have to be very clear with people. These are the rules. Let's be together in this and follow them so that we can continue doing this.
Gotcha.
And then if anybody wants more information on how, Jeremie does the setup or all that other logistical stuff, they can reach out to us. hello@jeremielivsamson.com. You can put that in the show notes too.
All right. Very cool. Well, I just want to say, unless you guys have more to add, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on to this fledgling podcast, and thank you for providing like some really like detailed, practical information about how other people can produce drive-in concerts in their community, and just the technical and also the compliance with social distancing and safety and following the laws. I think that's really important too. And I look forward to meeting with you guys one day in the hopefully not too distant future and playing some music. That sounds great to me.
Yeah, I would say to people, try. It's a good period to try.
Mhm.
And that seems a strange idea, but try it, experience it, and then you're gonna see.
All right. Well, maybe we'll talk offline about developing a plan that other people can put in place so we can do this and we can all save our sanity and enjoy some live music again. All right. Well, I think that we're going to wrap it up here, and I'll just stop recording and we'll catch you next time here.